Remember when you used to hang out in the food court, hoping that you would run into that special someone? You had practiced your response with your friends because you wanted to be ready. Well, what if I told you that client discovery calls can feel just as easy? Today, I'm going to share my favorite technique of turning your awkward first meetings into genuine conversations. But first, I'm Tammy with Make It a Double. And here on this channel, I talk all things entrepreneurship, freelance, and life over 50 with a twist. So thank you for tuning in today. Yeah, so I wanted to tell a little story. It's a little bit of an interesting story about myself, and maybe some of you can relate. So I was I wasn't 18 yet. I was under 18, and I am from, I would say a medium-sized city. And they had a club for teenagers. But anyway, I'm an introvert and kind of a shy person, just as a part of my state of being. And I remember going to this little club. I had to be no more than maybe 15 or so. And everybody's on the dance floor and everybody's dancing and doing their thing. And I am standing up against a wall on one side of the room. And I see people out, females out dancing, males out dancing, everybody's out on the dance floor or whatever. And my favorite songs had come on and I wanted to get on the dance floor because I love to dance. But nobody was coming to ask me to dance. I told one of my girlfriends, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and I'm going to ask this young man to dance. So I see him and I see him kind of bobbing his head. Okay, all right, Tammy, you can do it. I'm psyching myself out, hyping myself up. And so I walk through the crowd. I get over to the other side of the dance floor. I ask him to dance and he shoots me down. He's like, and my whole heart dropped. He said to me, I don't want to dance, but I'd love to just have a conversation with you. So we ended up having a conversation for the rest of the night, but I just remember how I felt in the moment and all the anxiety that had built up with me walking across the dance floor to go ask this young man to dance. And the agony of defeat when I didn't exactly get what I wanted. However, I did get a conversation. So I kind of equate that to this topic because a lot of the times we may have a ton of anxiety when it comes to doing outreach to a prospect client. And we've got all these different things that are going on in our head. And we've played out a response already before we've actually even done what we're supposed to do. And what I find is that if you can find common ground with people and have a real connection of conversation, then it's actually not as bad as you think it's going to be. Here's the thing about discovery calls. Most freelancers treat them like job interviews, but actually they are more like first dates, I think. You're both trying to figure out if you're a good match for one another. And the secret is you've got to kind of treat it like the coffee shop conversation. So you might be saying, okay, Tammy, what is the coffee shop conversation, right? It's that casual method that you need to have with your prospect. And it's that casual method that's actually going to get you to a yes. So we'll go through kind of what the differences are between traditional and coffee shop casual method. So when you think of like traditional engagement with a client, it's more of you may have questions like, so what's your budget? But if it's a casual method, you might say something like, so what inspired you to start this project? You see, those two questions are essentially asking the same thing, but not asking the same thing. I think some of the challenges with that kind of questioning or that line of questioning are it feels a little bit like interrogation. It focuses on business first, and it's not centered around establishing a relationship and a connection. It kind of creates a little bit of some pressure if you really think about it, because it makes people a little bit more uncomfortable. So it sometimes can maybe put your potential client in a more of a defensive posture. It's kind of rigid, right? So we want to be relaxed and, we want to be conversational and relatable, and our line of questioning needs to be in alignment with that. And it sometimes can be transactionally focused. And when you're focused more on transaction, human to human connection can be missing. And all of us can relate to various stories. I mean, even though we all come from very different backgrounds, there are some things that we all can relate to. I just shared with you, my story as a poor little teen and getting shot down in the club. And so those common stories are things that we all share, especially when it comes to heartbreak or embarrassment or anything like that. Those are all common stories that we can all relate to. So other ways that you can also be a little bit more conversational is, instead of saying, "When do you need this?" maybe you say something like, "So tell me about your vision." Or instead of saying, "What are your requirements?" maybe you could say something like, "Okay, so tell me what success looks like." I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you found any value out of the video, I would love for you to pop into the comments and let me know. So as you know, I'm going to continue to build the vault. And so my goal is to have a lot of good, rich content to help you during your freelance journey. So please make sure that you stop by here again. Like, comment, or subscribe. This is Tammy. Make it a double. I'm out.